Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren. I am your resident intuitive baddie. And I just recorded a video on my pregnancy journey. A little bit of a ramble. I had to backtrack a couple times. Forgive me, it was 2 years ago. But basically, it's my daughter's birthday tomorrow, so I've been reminiscing a little bit on that, and I decided to film that. But after finishing that now, I kind of reflected a little bit. I had some stuff coming up about I guess about being a mom and spirituality, or just something that I recognized within my pregnancy and motherhood journey. And I think I had this idea that I don't know, that the experience was going to feel more profound. And the experience was definitely a very, very unique experience, and it was definitely very spiritual. But I think I was expecting that it was going to trigger a certain type of spiritual awakening within me, because at that point I had been doing shrooms and LSD regularly. So before the pregnancy, not during the pregnancy, I want to note. So I had this feeling that, especially for me, when I'm on acid, I feel like I'm just so much more in tune with my body, right? And it's like you hear other people talk about their senses improving and just like things like that. Like certain senses get heightened. Typically, I hear like smell is usually a really common one, and maybe sound. I'm not sure. But I didn't feel like that happened to me. Of course, it was very I'm trying to find a good word for it. Like, of course, it was an experience having life inside of me and having it grow, and I don't know, maybe I just wasn't really that present, to be very honest, now that I'm looking back at it. But I remember I was expecting, especially for the birth part. Oh, I just realized that did I mention? Oh, there was a part I didn't mention in the story. I mean, it's very minor. It doesn't take away from the story, but I did a natural birth, but I ended up accepting to take morphine, but because of how long they took to find my vein, and how quickly Pia actually ended up coming out, the morphine actually kicked in after I gave birth. So I gave birth naturally, but morphine, and it was pretty good, but morphine kicked in just after I gave birth. So I was super drowsy when I first held her. But I had it in my head that I think just because also it's typically what you hear as like a typical birth story, or what you see on TV, where after birth is given, or when you first hold the baby, like the mother cries and stuff. And this is something, it's interesting because I also thought that was something I would feel at my wedding. I mean, I don't know, maybe that was a flag, maybe that's why it is now being dissolved. But yeah, when you see the people get really emotional and then they start crying, I think for both of those were things that I thought would happen, but didn't happen For when Pia was born, I'm not sure if it was the morphine, but yeah, it just like I was just so tired, and I just, and I also feel like I thought I would feel more connected to her during the pregnancy and after birth. Like I thought it would feel kind of like a psychic link. You know when they say, actually I don't know what they say, but I've heard other people say that it kind of feels like that. Just like, I don't know, just that bond. And it's like I feel obviously a very deep bond with her, but I don't know if it's because maybe it's been over, maybe I've over intellectualized it or something, but it didn't feel like the type of bond that I thought it was going to feel like. And or I guess again, now it's because I'm talking about it now, and I'm like I'm looking, I'm thinking, I'm processing it as I'm speaking the words to you guys. And I think that's what I do a lot. So I think I'm just going to embrace that part of me, and this part of me sharing is that, yeah, sometimes I'm processing while I'm talking to you guys. And maybe that's a sign that I should just slow down and pause more. And I know that I already pause a lot, or I just kind of like, I just like, oh, what is it? What is that? A lot. But you know what? Fuck. You're here for, you're here to see me learn or teach you what I just learned. Like, that is my prerogative. I'm not, yeah, I'm not a expert storyteller yet. And it's something that will improve with practice. And if you watch my very first videos, you can see that very evidently, because I was super fucking stiff in those videos. So it's like, you know, I'm putting the charger in because this is gonna die. But yeah, it's like right now I still use filler words. I notice myself saying like all the time, and I know that there's sometimes where I either lose the train of thought or I get stuck on trying to think of one word type of shit, and or I don't tell the story in super chronological order. This is kind of, sorry, I'm kind of veering off the path of the story now, but this is why I'm kind of playing around with some sort of structure, because I do think it's good to have my details in order, but then it's just like, it's finding that balance between being structured and then having like a script. I don't think I can do a script. I think that's when I think too much. But then it's like, how much can I thin it out so that I have a cohesive and not consecutive, what's the word? A continuous, that's not the word, but we're going to go with that. Story. Anyways, so I guess as I'm talking this out and realizing is, I think because I'm used to, I don't want to say these, yeah, let's say a sudden awakening, or, you know, within a trip, I have a profound realization, and just, I feel so just connected to my environment, to whoever's around me, whatever, in those moments. I had this idea that the bond I would have with Pia, with her coming out, would kind of feel like that, where it's just like I almost it's like I can read her mind type of thing. But I mean, over the past 2 years, I can't read her mind, no, but I'm very in tune with her patterns. And this is how I always knew I was going to be a good mom, because I am a person of patterns. I notice patterns. I'm very observant. And that is one of the things that being a parent has let me exercise. And it has also shown, I think it's like one of those things where the journey of parenting, and especially I guess with the first child, because you learn as you go, there's no manual. People can, again, just like the pregnancy and just like taking psychedelics, it doesn't matter how much somebody tells you, or even if you are around somebody else's kids, or you take care of somebody else's kids, or you work with kids, it's very, very different when it's your own and when you're starting from scratch, like when you're there from the beginning, because there are so many different ways to do things, and there's so many different things you have to try. Because yeah, it's like there's no one size fits all solution for certain things. Every baby is different, likes different things, has different personalities. So yeah, man, it's like you go in and it's one of the, I do truly believe that becoming a mother was part of my divine plan, because yeah, it taught me that you can fuck up and it's okay. It's a learning experience, and you just show up better the next time, and then you can laugh about it. But I totally see how people can have a hard time. I think the fact that, even talking about my pregnancy, I do think that my mindset being very positive, and yeah, just making sure that that I kept my mindset in a really good state, and keeping myself active and all that stuff, like taking care of myself. It helped me develop the skills to also bring that kind of mindset into parenting, because I think what happens to a lot of parents is because of the stress, it's just like they get short, their emotions become short, and then you lose yourself, and then you feel like it makes it kind of feel more like a burden or harder. But I went into pregnancy and into parenting just knowing that there were going to be challenging times, and that it was just part of the experience, and that it was all temporary. And it was, for all my parents out there, from baby up until they grow up, it's like it gets easier, but it doesn't at the same time, because whatever you accomplish, whatever you figure out the rhythm for, there's some other shit that now is harder because they've developed and they're now learning that, and then you gotta, so it's just like there's always a trade-off. And even as I don't know, it's like, yeah, it gets easier in some ways but harder in other ways. So right now, what's easy about having a toddler is she's more interactive, so it's easier to play with her and for her to keep herself busy as well. You obviously don't have to watch them all the time. You don't have to hold her all the time. She can go to the potty by herself for the most part. I have to still help her actually take down her pants when she goes there. But the trade-off is, right now she's dealing with managing her emotions, and she's testing us, like, Like, she is testing the limits to see, she will push the boundaries because, you know, she realizes who she can get away with. She can get some shit away. Oh, she can get away with some shit with some people, and then there's some people she cannot. And sometimes she will just see how far she can push you, and just like, what is she allowed to do around you? And yeah, it's just crazy how fucking smart they are. But then also it's like, oh, she's like forming her sentences now, so it's hard because we don't understand her. But oh my god, is it cute when you can understand kind of one word. Or today, oh, she saw me wrapping her presents, and she goes, appetite. And we're like, that was basically a sentence. And I have a video, not posting it here, but of me singing, you know, the Barney song, I love you, you love me, we're happy. So, and she's trying to sing along, but she doesn't, again, she can't, her tongue isn't fully developed. So it's like, when she's trying to say words, it's not coming out correctly. Or for some words, it's like, it just sounds like gibberish. But yeah, it's just so cute because, you know, she gets some words like to me. She can't say love all the way yet. Happy for happy. So it's just like, it's so cute. It's just so wholesome. And she's like trying to sing it along with me, and then it's just like, it's like, obviously if I wasn't singing, you wouldn't know what fucking song it was, but it's just so cute because she's trying. So it's like, this is my favorite stage so far. I think yeah, the newborn stage is easy because you pretty much just have to figure out their rhythm. They literally just sleep, eat shit, and it's just constant. And the reason why it's a harder stage is because you get less sleep, because they need to feed, as the mother, if you're breastfeeding, you have to feed them every 3 hours. If you're bottle feeding or you're mixed feeding, then you can kind of work out a schedule with your partner. Or if you have like you're living with your parents and they can also help, then it's easier in that regard. But if you're breastfeeding like I did, then you're up every 3 hours because you have to feed them frequently. So for me, actually, that wasn't so bad because I have always been a night owl, and I have always functioned quite well on little sleep. I mean, as of right now, it's 4 a.m. and I am up. So again, and I'll probably sleep and then wake up at like 9 or 10. Questionable. So I wasn't really ill-tempered or set off much with, it didn't feel like too little sleep. So, and I think me and my ex had a pretty good system. Yeah, something I will say about him is that, yeah, we make a great team as parents. He does a very good amount of his part, especially in the earlier stages. Because yeah, a lot of I totally get it. And he tried to slip by on some things too, where it's just like, oh, but she likes when you do it. Or it's just like, she has an easier time when you do this. And while it's probably true, it's just like an easy way of getting out of things. And I can see how he used to really feel bad in the beginning. So he did all the diaper changes in the first couple months because he just felt bad because I'd feed her because I was breastfeeding, and at that time it's just like, usually like they fall asleep right when after you feed them. So I was like, we didn't really need to rock her too much or whatever. I was kind of just there. So he did all the diaper changes, but he would feel useless some days because he was just like, especially in the very beginning, they're feeding for like half an hour straight. sometimes. And yeah, like you can't move. That's one of the things I didn't like. I'm just like, oh, it's like you can do nothing but kind of doom scroll or like watch something. So yeah, you're recovering, so you feel weaker in those earlier stages. But I think because I had a natural birth and um, I was generally pretty active, it didn't bother me so much, other than just general tiredness. I'm trying to see what's notable over the years, and then and then eventually they regulate their sleep schedule, so then they start sleeping longer, and then feeding more condensed, but then they have regressions every like other month, I swear to God. Either every other month or fucking every month. I'm just like, why isn't she sleeping? It's just like regression. She's teething, or she just learned this new thing, so now she can't sleep because she wants to practice the thing. Basically, the thing is routine. And a lot of the other thing is that what's hard about being a parent as well is there is a point where, because they start regulating their own sleep, so I'm sure you probably heard the debate between cry it out method or just like picking them up or whatever. Like everything in life, middle ground. So the reason why you don't want to just pick them up right away is, if you think of I think it's Pavlov's dog. It's the experiment where they have the dog and the bell. So like every time they ring the bell and they give the food, the dog salivates, and then it gets to a point where whenever you ring the bell, the dog salivates even if there isn't any food. So it's basically that. It's like, if you pick them up right away, they get used to you putting them back to sleep. Whereas if you give a little bit of time, what a lot of babies can do at this stage naturally is, if you don't come right away, they figure out how to soothe themselves. But then you also don't want to leave them crying too long, because if they're not figuring it out, then it's like, then that's when they can get to exhaustion and whatever. But the thing is, it's just like, you have to get through, I'd say in the beginning, it's like maybe 10 minutes of them crying. And a lot of people can't handle that. And there was a lot of push and pull with me and my ex, not because of him, but because of his mom. Like I said, his mom is very emotional. So she would feel really bad, and she would just tell us to go pick her up. And it was one of those things that was really straining, because basically with babies, you just have to keep them on a routine. They work like clocks, but the thing is their clocks adjust every few months, and it's just like every time you have a routine down and you have a rhythm going, it switches for whatever reason. But the best way to get through that is to keep the schedule as consistent as possible. So just keeping things consistent and doing things if you do things at the same time every day, like if you keep their wake up time the same, or with the sleep times, it's like, if you can get them to wake up and or go to sleep at the same time, you're pretty much Gucci, because it just sets the whole rhythm. So it's just like, even if you have a day where the naps are all messed up, it resets for the next day, and they will likely wake up at the same time. So right now, we now co-sleep because me and my ex are separated now, and the the schedule, or like the routines aren't consistent anymore. She because there was a point, oh, there was a because I stood up for it, and I made, like, I just did it the way that, which was controlled crying. She had a really good sleep schedule at one point. So it was like you put her down and you leave the room, and then she's asleep in 5 minutes. And she didn't always cry, or she would cry for 2 to 3 minutes, maybe five max, and then she'd be out, and she'd sleep through the night. That's when, like, it took convincing for my ex, because I was just like, yo, I swear to God, this is what everything says. Everything I look up, it says to just let them figure it out. Let them self-soothe. And I remember there was one time that I literally saw this. These were back in my people-pleasing days. I think this is something that parenting has also taught me, is just like the pregnancy, just to follow your intuition as a mother, because there are certain things you just know. But yeah, I saw her going to self-soothe, and then you disrupt. So basically what happens when you pick them up, when they're trying to self-soothe, or they haven't gotten to self-soothe, is you disrupt that. Because then, yeah, you take the responsibility away from them, so then they don't feel like they have to do it. So yeah, it's like you let them cry it out for maybe like 10, I would say no longer than 10 minutes at a time. Or basically, I think controlled crying is when you check on them in intervals. So it's like maybe you let them cry for 5 minutes, and then you come in so that they know that you haven't abandoned them. So this is where some people do it wrong. Some people will just leave and then let them cry until they fall asleep, that is what people find cruel, is because you're making them exhaust themselves. But it's like, honestly, until you're through it, unless you do it, you can't say shit. There's so many things that I've said and judged parents on when I didn't have a child, and I got to it, and I'm like, now, yeah, I take back all the things I said. I apologize. Those parents that put their kids on leashes or have the leash backpacks, I get you. And you have a toddler, they want to go everywhere, bro. They're fast. They are fucking fast. Don't judge people. Don't judge people if you have not gone through the experience. Yeah. Okay, let's see. What was I talking about? Oh, routines. Yeah, routines. So raising a child really helped me understand human development. And as a lover of psychology, yeah, I was really able to see firsthand how a person becomes who they are. And this is where you truly understand that there are certain things that they just naturally do, and there's certain developments that are natural and that you don't have to do anything, and you just have to go on their timing. So for example, when Pia started to learn how to walk, she was a late walker. So they say past 50, by 15 months they should be walking. She started walking at 14, and everybody was fucking freaking out. All the Filipinos were freaking out, bro. Like my mom, his mom, my ex a little bit, just like the family, they're all like, oh, she's not walking. And I'm like, yo, she's like showing all the signs that she's gonna walk. Fucking just wait for her to do it. Because I think this is a mistake a lot of parents make as well, is that they get all caught up in the timelines. So then they try to push their kid to learn earlier than they're able to, or earlier than than their timing. And this is just like, with people in general, it's just like we all are on our own timing, and until we realize that, and we're always comparing to other people, other babies, it's just like you're always gonna feel like you're doing something wrong. And so that is some advice, or some a grain of salt I would tell you to take as a parent if you're a first time parent is everybody does everything on their own timing. So it was just like really cool to see. And so there's certain things that they just do when they're supposed to do it, and that's like their motor skill, their motor skills, gross motor skills. What's the other one? I don't know. Their mobility shit, and just like growing in general. And then there's other things that are influenced outside, which is, I think, I want to say more, is it more cognitive? I don't know. Anyways, there's other things that they learn from and they adapt from you. And then there's certain things that are just embedded in their DNA code. So what are like certain things? For example, in the beginning, Pia used to eat everything. Like, she definitely has my ex's appetite, but she now is starting to be like me, where she knows by the texture of something, she can just look at the texture of something and she knows she's not going to like it. Even if she tries it, it's like she doesn't like it. So there's certain things she won't eat, but then if there are things that she does like to eat, she'll eat a lot of it. So just like weird things like that. And then, there's certain things that are learned by environment. So language, for example, because, because it's based on what she hears, or just, for example, I'd like to say, I get it. I get why people are like, you shouldn't push certain you shouldn't push gender roles in toys or whatever. But, yo, man, like, they want to do what they see you doing. So my daughter, my ex's mom is OCD, so she cleans a lot and she sweeps a lot. So she kept trying to take the dustpan and the broom and to sweep. So we got her a little baby sweeping, like a little cleaning set. And then she sees us cooking all the time, so she naturally wants to pretend to cook. So we got her a bunch of cooking set shit. But she also likes cars, so we let her, it's just like one of those things where it's like, if your kid wants a toy, who gives a shit what the gender role of the toy? It's just like, get them the toys that they're interested in, because they're interested in a reason. And the thing is, when they're small, they just want to mimic you. So it's just like, don't not get a toy because you're like, I don't want you to think that you have to be a housemaker. No, everybody should learn. Everybody should know how to fucking cook and clean, or everyone should have an interest in it. It's like survival, basically. Keeping a clean house is important. That's another video. And then obviously cooking and feeding yourself is also another survival thing. So but then it's just like, if they want something from the opposite gender, fucking let them, whatever. You don't know how they're gonna play with it. It's what they're interested in. Don't try to. I try to do my best not to only raise her based on my own childhood. This is where a lot of parents make mistakes as well, as they try to relive or like correct things in their kids' lives, or like correct things from their childhood in their child's lives. So this is something that I would say spiritually opened me up, is it did heal a lot of childhood trauma, or it did let me rewrite a lot of things. But what I'm trying to convey is that I don't force things upon my daughter just because I missed out on them, type of thing. It's like, I'm not trying to relive my childhood through her. But there's certain things, like how it was so healing to have a big birthday party for her and to be able to really care or like really make something special for her. And yeah, something that I would like, I guess it is correcting from my childhood, but allowing her to have interest and to explore the things she's interested in, because I felt I was pushed to do and learn a lot of things that I didn't care about when it was very obvious what I did care about, but you know, I was met with disdain because that's not what my mom wanted or what was impressive to her. And, you know, that is the root of a lot of my confidence issues, a lot of my procrastination issues, um, are the issues I had because your girl does shadow work. Yeah, so I guess to end that off, because I think with parenting, yeah, parenting isn't linear. No one is ever truly ready. However, I do think your state of mind is very important, and I think the way that you approach parenting and the way that you and your beliefs on parenting and also on yourself are very important. So another thing that a lot of parents I think are something that can be misconceptualized with parenting is this loss of freedom, and that is definitely true in the beginning, because in the beginning they do literally need you, especially the mothers. Like they can't move. You gotta hold them, you gotta feed them, you gotta do everything. And in that first 3-ish months, yeah, you are pretty much bound to your baby. But if you are communicating properly with your partner and you are asking for what you need, if you tell them you need time. So this is what I realize about um, a lot of mothers specifically that feel trapped or like feel like they're doing everything. A lot of them want their partner to notice. And it's like, I get that. I am also somebody who just would like a partner that just notices things about me and I don't have to ask for things. But that isn't completely on them, that they can't read your mind or that they're missing the fact that you are doing more, like they could be doing more for you. But yeah, sometimes like if your partner's just oblivious, just tell them, bro. Just fucking be like, yo, I need to shower. I need a consistent time where you're taking care of, where it's like your time with the baby so that I can do something for myself. Or like I would like an afternoon once a week or something like that. You should not feel guilty for leaving your child with your partner or with your parents or whatever so that you can have some time. Or if you guys need a date and stuff, like you guys shouldn't feel guilty about leaving your child with somebody else. And I think a lot of people put themselves in that trap mentally, and it's like a thing of feeling judged and also just like a natural guilt of leaving your child. But like, yeah, even if you don't arrange that time for yourself, it's temporary. Like as they get older, it gets easier to do more and to have more freedom and to arrange things and to leave them and stuff. Like at 2 years old, I mean, granted, I am also separated now and I have half the week because we split everything equally. But even before, even when we were together, I just was vocal about what I needed at some point. There was a point where I was like, I want to go back to dance. I want to be able to have an evening where I can be gone for a few hours and then come back so that I can feel fucking sane. And I got that. And then when like we'd arrange for days that I could have a trip. And so like those were days that I would like stock up and pump, and then he has her for the day, and then I fucking go off and go be a spiritual being, go awaken more. So it's all communication, but the thing is, I think the problem with a lot of people just is that we expect that we are to read our partner's minds. And it's just like one of those things where either you communicate to them, or maybe you're with the wrong partner, and you should find a partner that naturally cares to, or is naturally detail oriented, so they notice these things and they don't. It's like being a parent. It's like what I said earlier with my daughter. It's like I can't read her mind. I definitely can't read her mind. Oh my God, I would pay many dollars to know what she was thinking, because sometimes she just spaces out. It's the Aquarius in her. She's a double Aquarius sun and rising, bro. Anyway, and a Libra moon, all air. So sometimes she just, and I'm like, what is going on in there? But yeah, but there are a lot of things that I pick up on, and I can tell when she's lying. I can tell when I can tell when she's about to shit. I can tell when she's bored. I can tell when she's tired. It's like and those are things I notice because I pay attention, and just a lot of people don't pay attention. So if that's something that's important to you, find a partner who pays attention. Don't rush that shit. Don't rush anything. Don't rush your kids. Don't rush yourself. You are doing your best. And if this is a journey that you wish to embark on sometime, or you're on the journey of embarking on, just know, the whole thing is just do your best. It's just another part of life, and it's ever changing, and it is very rewarding, and it can be very spiritual, and it can teach you a lot of things. It has definitely shaped me for being a leader and being a teacher, because you're teaching your kid things, and like as you figure things out for them, and you figure things out for yourself too, and again, you can do a lot of inner child healing work. And now I shall plug myself. If you have something you want to do, an area of life you want to do shadow work on, if you want to work on maybe childhood traumas, for the sake of relationships, for the sake of parenting, for career and ambition, or just to be a better version of you, and you want somebody to guide you through that, somebody to keep you accountable, somebody that you can unpack this work with, holla at your girl. Email in the description. Your intuitive baddie will make you an intuitive baddie. Or Bodman, if you're a guy. Intuitive boss. We'll work on that. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it resonated. And until next time, goodbye.